The Fed's quantitative tightening is finally starting to work as consumers are starting to feel the squeeze and purchasing power is starting to become extinct, except for people like us.
You're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite low.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in and we're going to review an additional Zillow report that's going to go into competition, active listings, price cuts, and the overall status on the housing market. Please don't forget to like this video. It really helps out the channel. And please comment below because I'm very, very interested in hearing from you and understanding your insights and your perspectives. The name of this Zillow article is Understanding Housing Markets. This is a very, very good read. There's going to be a lot of data and a lot of stats here. Zillow research is looking at matrices to capture the competition, which is basically the experience between buyers and sellers in the U.S. housing market. For example, what they're doing is using days to pending, homes that successfully went under contract, age of inventory, which includes mispriced or languishing listings coming soon, ever active listing, and the percentage of listings with price cuts. So let's look at the left side of me, which is home values and home prices. Now, this is basically Zestimate. The black line is raw data and the blue line is seasonally adjusted. The three columns are pre-pandemic, year over year, and month over month. Now, year over year and month over month, whereas the first table is actually measured by dollar amount. So really what I want to point out first is how much home values went up as a percentage pre-pandemic. This is the problem right here, you guys. This is the asset bubble. This is a primary reason why we have to have high interest rates. The home equity essentially went up close to 50%. This is saying about 42%. And that happened in about 2 years. That is something that is not sustainable. And the reason why is this. When home values go up that much, it puts too much burden on the backs of the consumer because the reality is, guys, home values went up because of 2 and 3% interest rates. Now, when we look at the PE ratio, we see that right now we're sitting at 7.47, which means it takes roughly 7.5 years of annual salary. So year over year, this is more deflation. It's not quite in the negative yet as far as a nationwide year over year. I believe, in fact, I have a gentleman's bet going on with some viewers on my channel that we will hit year over year average decline, nationwide average decline. We're at about 2.3 to 1.8 right now. A primary reason I think that is I don't think that home buying demand is going to come back like it did this year in 2024. And we see the deflation starting to happen on a month over month basis, which means values and prices are going negative, not just disinflation, deflation. So right now we're sitting at 0.3, which is an annualized rate of negative 3.8. So home values, there is no question, on average are going down. Again, finally, the effects of the Fed are starting to be felt. If I could draw your attention to the right side, when we look at median list price and median sales price, you guys can see how big a gap there actually is. So if we look at September, it was $395 as far as the listing price, but the sales price, you guys look at this, $338. So there is there's over a $50,000 discrepancy in median list price versus median sales price. So what we're starting to see is massive price cuts. To have that big a discrepancy in list price versus sell price, again, means most sellers are listing their price for too much money and having to price cut just to sell their property. We can see deflationary trends right here because we have a negative number. So October is actually negative 1.3% as far as listing price. Let's go over 3 trends of competition that include days to pending, active inventory, and shares of listings with price cuts. And when we look at days to pending, we can really see, when we look at since pre-pandemic, which is right here, we can see how badly COVID really messed up the housing market. Basically, days to pending was anywhere from 22 days to about 48 days. You guys can kind of see that here. It was kind of seasonal, it went up and it went down, but it really didn't get below 19 days. And you can see that kind of flat line with this data here. But when we got locked down, you guys, and when we opened back up, everyone wanted to buy because we were on lockdown, there wasn't enough inventory, and rates were low, money was printed. And look at this, we had a drop of days to pending of 60.7%. This right here is a primary reason why we're in the situation that we're in. This is heavy competition. Now, since then, it has got better. You can see that it has got better as far as days to pending, but we are not where we were at pre-pandemic, again, which is over here. Right now, we're sitting at 16 days to pending. Now that's trending upward, but obviously we still have a lot more room to go when it comes to competition, but it's nice to see at least we're making some progress. Now it actually got to 7 days, you guys, April 2021. So 2021 was a massive year for the housing market as far as values skyrocketing and competition. The average got to 7 days to pending. So yes, we're double that, we're 16 days, but again, if we go back, we can see historically, we need to be about 30 days right now. So we still have work to do. Also, what's interesting is if we look at the year over year, you can see how the quantitative tightening really hit the housing market in 2022. Look at this, guys. I mean, it skyrocketed. Days to pending absolutely skyrocketed into January, increasing 244%. We were on track at balance in the housing market again, but what happened? A double whammy happened. Obviously, we still had pent-up demand. We still had excess savings, but the bank bailout happened. There was so much liquidity pumped back into the market. All of the sentiment changed. Home builders started offering insane buying incentives. I mean, and it plummeted back down. So we actually, in my opinion, we took several steps back in 2023, but thank God we're back on the path of bringing balance back to the housing market. When we look at the actual active inventory, one thing I want to point out is right before we went into lockdown. So when we look at December 2019, the total active listings that we had was 1.27 million. So all of these people saying we need 3 to 4 million more listings are out of their mind. If we had 3 to 4 million listings right now, house values would probably lose 50% of value if we had that right now. So again, you guys, we had 1.27 million right before lockdowns. Right now we're sitting at 944,000, which means we need less than 300,000 units to get back to pre-COVID. And 300,000 units in the condition that we're in now is not that hard to get. We can get 300,000 units from STRs like Airbnbs. We can do it from REITs, institutional investors, long-term rental market. And let me ask you guys this question. If rates were to go down to 5%, how many more active listings do you think we have? I believe we have 1 to 2 million sellers on the sideline right now that would list their houses if they could afford to buy a new house. But obviously, most people cannot afford to do that. But look, you guys, yes, we have historically low inventory, but we are not that far off. When we look at the inventory growth, you can really see, again, when we opened back up from lockdowns, the inventory absolutely plummeted 28.8% up to 35.5%, 39%. So active inventory is really bad right now. As far as existing, new construction, we have it. Existing, we need more. There's a golden handcuff effect going on right now. But again, look at what COVID did. COVID wrecked us, you guys, absolutely wrecked us when it comes to the housing market. Now, when you look at the year-over-year trends, again, a drop of 27%, really crazy. Now, we started getting inventory back at the end of 2022, again, because of the quantitative tightening that was going on. Consumers were starting to figure that out, but we lost a lot of that progress starting in March of 2023. You can kind of see it starting to decline, actually, officially declining around May of 2023. So again, the bailouts, I think the bailouts really took us back, but we are seeing this trend start to change. In fact, we're seeing inventory increases when normally we have decreases. Now, here's the set of data that we need to review to really understand that the quantitative tightening is finally starting to work again, and that is the share of listings with price cuts. Now, we are almost at a record according to Zillow. Now, according to Redfin, we have already surpassed a 4-week rolling average record of price cuts. 25% of them have price cuts. That is a lot, and that will lead to additional value and price declines. That is a ridiculous amount of price cuts. Now, we peaked, according to Zillow, in October of 2022 at 26.9%. Now, right before lockdowns in October, we were sitting at 22.3%. So again, we're ahead of where we're normally at when it comes to seasonality, and this more than likely is just going to get worse and worse and worse, in my opinion, at least until 2025. You can see on this graph kind of where we lost some of that momentum this year, but it's going right back into our favor. So this little dead cat bounce here, I really think it just made things a lot worse for consumers that are purchasing right now. If you guys want to come back here, they have all kinds of data, all kinds of charts that I think you guys would like. You know, here's the active listings. If you want to go back to 2018, see where the inventory was, but regardless, you guys, we need a few 100,000 more existing active units in the housing market. If we have that, it goes back to pre-pandemic on a nationwide average. There's no question that prices will not sustain where they're at right now. On the left is the year over year, and on the right is since pre-pandemic. And I want to point out that on a year-over-year basis, there are metro areas that are suffering greatly. So 2023 has been about, oh, the housing market's fine, it's rebounded, everything's okay, but that's not true. When we look at the year-over-year, we could see Northern California is still at a negative year-over-year. And when we add the cost to sell your house, they're a lot more negative. I mean, you see Boise here is down 3.5%, Salt Lake City 0.7%, Colorado Springs, Phoenix down 2.4%, Austin's down a whopping 9.2%. Look at Louisiana. No one's talking about New Orleans. It's down 9% year over year. Shocking that the top realtors on YouTube don't talk about this. Top realtors on YouTube in Louisiana are talking about how now's never been a better time to buy. They're completely out of their mind. Shocking, actually, when their own state, their own city, their own metro area is down almost double digits. What's really cool is Florida. Florida is finally starting to unravel. Take a look at Jacksonville at a loss of 1.9%. You can see Tampa's barely above year over year. You can see Northport down 0.7%, Cape Coral down 0.8%. So it is changing. There's Raleigh at 0.2%. Not really seeing it yet on the East Coast, but definitely around the nation. But here's the problem. Even though prices are going down, they're still overpriced and really unaffordable for a lot of people. You can see when we look at the growth since pre-pandemic, I mean, massive growth. You got Los Angeles at 36%, San Antonio at 35%, Austin still at 42%. In places in Florida, look at Miami, 57%, 65% increase in value, and Cape Coral. That's shocking, you guys. Absolutely sure. That's not sustainable. You just priced out all of the locals, all of the natives can't purchase now. Do y'all see the problem with this? Now let me scroll down here. What's also interesting is the quarter over quarter. Now the quarter over quarter is actually showing that the East Coast is starting to lose value. So very, very interesting when we do that quarter over quarter comparison. I mean, look at Richmond's down 0.9%, Washington, D.C. down 0.8%, Baltimore down 0.6%. I mean, this is a huge indication that it's finally starting to spread to the East Coast. Look at Columbus, Ohio down 0.2%. And again, you guys, this is quarter over quarter. So this is good. And surprisingly, when we show quarter over quarter, the West Coast actually is up while the East Coast is showing decline. Really surprising to see that. Now, when we shorten this up and look at month over month, very interesting to see some of the northern areas starting to have decline as well. I mean, the housing market's falling apart. Changed my mind. Look at the month over month. We have negative 1% now in Minneapolis. That's crazy. Look at right here as well, negative 0.9. Milwaukee, negative 0.6. Grand Rapids. Look at this, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati down, Columbus down, Pittsburgh down, Rochester down. What? Cleveland down, Buffalo down, Virginia Beach is down, Richmond's down. What? Holy smokes, guys. When did this happen? Same thing in Florida. Everything's down in Florida. This is crazy. Everything is going down right now except the West Coast. What? So all of the East Coast is going down month over month. But the West Coast, Southern California is holding fairly strong, surprisingly. Northern California, no. Very, very interesting to see this. All in all, this is exactly what we need to see to get that balance back to the housing market so we can all fairly afford to buy a house. And that's really the problem. It's not fair that only about 12% of American households can afford a house. And it's also not fair that it costs 52% more to purchase than to rent on average. And it's also not fair that 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So I hope that you guys don't fall into those statistics. And what you're doing right now, especially if you're on the sideline, is just pause housing, learning how to empower yourself by improving your purchasing power, which is your credit, your income, and your assets. And also, the most important thing is understand how your local housing market works and understand that real estate is so local that you really have to understand the property's subdivision and what's going on there. So I hope you guys are learning a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys got some additional value, insights, and perspective. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck, and I hope you win.